happening. A lot of Hispanics are now overrunning historical black communities, especially in LA and Chicago and places like that. We already know the tension between blacks and Mexicans and the recent migrant crisis over the last 2 years. This has created a conundrum in which Hispanics and blacks are at each other's necks. And we all know that the ICE raids are one big part of it. You see, blacks are not supporting Hispanics in the ICE raids, and that's for good reasons. But we're going to also talk about one thing that's particular: the disrespect from the Hispanic community towards blacks. Rewind! Let's go back to Mexican OT and his right to want to use the N-word. Although this is insensitive and disrespectful, you also want to use the N-word while attaching yourself to hip-hop culture, which also is black. Not only do you want to display yourself as a gold-toothed Mexican / black style of rapper, you want to be able to say whatever you want to say about black people. But not all Hispanics feel this way.
Latinos and Hispanics, more specifically non-black Latinos and Hispanics, will pretend that the N-word is not offensive, but then get offended by being called something like Latinx. Non-black Latinos will pretend that the N-word is not offensive, but then get offended when you ask them to not use the N-word. A common thing that you'll hear Latinos say when they're called out for using the N-word is, well, if I can't use it, they can't use it either. They referring to black people. And that begs the question, why do you want to say it so much? Latinos, you have so many alternatives to use. Latinos have a whole other language of words that they can use instead of the N-word, like fu, ese, whatever you want.
What up, fool?
But instead you choose the N-word.
What up, bro?
And it's one thing to use the N-word and then change your language when somebody tells you it's not okay. It's another thing to defend your use of the N-word because you're too lazy to expand your vocabulary. And a lot of Latinos will go on and say, well, it's not that big a deal, you know? I have black friends and I say it around them and they don't mind. And that's fine. Sure, if your black friends are okay with you saying that, that's them. But let's be honest. If you are a non-black person using the N-word, you are very careful with who you use that word around.
In this particular clip, this guy is saying, listen, Hispanics understand that it is wrong for them to use the N-word, all right? They understand that. And we have many other words to do it.
But he ain't gonna let you call him a spick.
But again, at the same time, if you call Hispanics Latinx, they are upset. And this is a hypocrisy that the blacks see. The black community has historically stood up for Hispanics in America in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And when they've stood up for them, they've got nothing in return.
Right.
And in some parts of the country, like Los Angeles and Chicago, they've seen their neighborhoods overrun with Hispanics. And then also now these Hispanics are hostile towards these very same blacks. And then to make it worse, while this is happening, you still want to be able to have access to the N-word, but you don't want blacks to be able to call you the same thing.
What?
But it gets worse.
Because you know that the moment you use it around the wrong person, that you will get checked, and it won't be as nice as somebody telling you to not use the word anymore. Let's stop playing dumb. I heard somebody say that if we can't use the N-word, then black people can't eat tacos. As if eating some culture's culinary items is the equivalent of using a racial...
You can call them a racial slur. Yeah. That kind of bullshit is that. They want to... I bet you, but you can't go up to them and call them, hey, what's up, my spick? Can't do that. Hey.
Derogatory slur that was meant to...
I bet they check you as you say that to them.
Humanize people. It is not the same. It is not an equivalency.
No, it's
Don't
not.
play dumb, because the moment you try to defend your use of the N-word and you are non-black, all you do is let other people know that you aren't playing. You're just actually dumb.
He then says, you might be able to say the N-word, but you would watch who you say it around because you don't want to get checked, or even worse, which is also hypocrisy. You have the opportunity to use any other word that you have, but you don't want to do it, and you're careful of who you want to use it around because you know it's offensive. But at the same time, let us call you Latinx or anything else, then you will be ready to fight. But it gets worse. Fast forward! I came across a particular video of a black brother by the name of Mr. Machine God. And he noticed that something was going on in protests during ICE raids.
Go home. Take your ass home. If you're an undocumented individual and you're in American streets today rioting while waving a foreign flag, the national flag, or your national pride, or whatever you're trying to display out there, protesting the fact that this government is trying to send your ass back to where you came from, but yet you're proudly representing your country with your flag, you've lost the plot, brother or sister. Take your home. I'm sorry, go home. And I'm supposed to be this bleeding heart that says, no, these people are here to make a life for themselves.
Now, he's speaking as an American citizen, but let's break it down to what this means for the average hashtag FBA or the African American or somebody in that genre, whatever you want to identify as hashtag ADOS, freedman. He's saying, listen, you guys are out here with your flags and you are out here representing your countries. And in this case, Hispanic countries, Colombia, Dominican Republic, Mexico. But then you don't want to go back to these countries, although you're over here illegal. But you're taking away the opportunity from an actual citizen. And this is also a hypocrisy that many blacks see. So let's go back to number one thing. You want to use the N-word, some of you, right? But at the same time, you don't want to be called Latinx. You don't want to support what blacks want to support, although blacks have supported you. You stay silent on the issues that bothers blacks, but you want blacks to support you and your family since undocumented migrants and other people are being deported. Well, why don't you go home? All right? You don't want to go home because you know what's going to happen if you do go home.
He's right, you know.
This is a brother that is from the Afro Latino community. He summed it up very nicely.
Man, stop trying to convince these people that we need to stand together and all that. They ain't trying to hear that shit, bro.
Right.
They've been betrayed so many times, bro. 1877, after federal troops pulled out of the South, bro. Betrayed. 40 acres and a mule, betrayed. You feel me? Jim Crow, betrayed. Redlining, betrayed. Every promise that this country has made to them has been a false promise. And now we need y'all to stand with us while we march. Like, leave them people alone. They ain't trying to hear that shit. They ain't trying to hear that shit.
Right.
Because they know how prevalent racism is in our community. And they know how y'all talk about them when they ain't in the room. And they know that now y'all got y'all N-word wake up, didn't y'all?
They was over trying to act like they was white folks. They was really, especially running black people off their jobs, especially in L.A. They was really just acting like, oh yeah, they was really siding with white folks, voting for Trump. Now that Trump is doing exactly what he said he was gonna do, getting the. Notice he ain't mess with nobody else though. You got Ukrainians over here illegally. You got Asian people over here illegally. You got Russian people over here illegally. You got Persian people over here illegally. He only messing with the El Salvadorians and the Mexicans and the Guatemalans, the brown Latinos. You notice that, Trump? The ones that they was trying to vote for, they sending y'all back. He ain't messing with the Asians or the Ukrainians or the Persians. I noticed that. Hit the thumbs up button.
Y'all got that Paul Mooney N-word wake-up call, and now y'all want to scream unity and solidarity. Nah, bro. It don't work that way. It don't work that way. The people that have been working together will continue to work together. The people that have empathy for your plight and your situation will continue to have empathy for your plight and situation. But don't try to convince...
This dude, like he on drugs, but he making some sense, though. For those young people who don't know who he's talking about, when he said Paul Mooney. Paul Mooney was this late, great comedian from back in the 70s and 80s. He's passed on, but he used to be with great comedians like Richard Pryor. And he had a joke called the Negro Wake-Up Call. And what that was is black people who would act like they were better than other black people and would want to be around everybody that didn't look like them, other than their own kind, really would go out their way. Something would usually happen between them and that other race of people that would give them that wake-up call that they not them, they black. You know what I'm saying? That's what he's talking about. And that was one of Paul Mooney's like running jokes. So he was talking about the Mexicans was acting like they were white, and now they getting a Mexican wake-up call. Hit the thumbs up button. That's it. That's because white people can let you know if you're not one of them or not, and they definitely letting them know now with this ICE shit that y'all ain't like us.
convince people to come join your side. Like, oh, it's always been, and they don't give a fuck. They don't care. They're trying to survive their damn self. Right. They're trying to figure out how this man is about to get rid of the 13th and 14th Amendment and strip them of citizenship. What, you don't think they know what time it is? Mm-hmm. They got to deal with their own shit. I'm just saying, I see a lot of videos where people are like Trump
finna get rid of a lot of the aid that black people need. Yeah, we worrying about our own shit. He right.
Convinced, black Americans that they need to stand side by side with black and brown unity, but when it's something that doesn't benefit us, we ain't screaming that shit.
Nope. You right.
Yeah, get mad. Go ahead. You know I'm right.
So the guy says, "Listen."
And you know what? He probably one of the Latinos that may have been outcasted from the Hispanic community because he's on drugs. So now he really spilling the beans, and being that he's been outcasted by his own people, he's spilling the beans of how his people really get down. Which is stuff. This is stuff we already knew though. It's always been that underlying kind of hate for black people with Hispanics in America and Latino people in America. Hit a thumbs up button.
Listen, here are all the reasons why blacks are tired. He named numerous ones, okay? I don't need to get into all of them because we heard them. But I think that the issue that we have saw and what we hear about in Afro-Latinos, they understand the racism that goes on in these communities, but it's also the hypocrisy that goes on in these communities. And one thing that I have learned living in a foreign country is that things can be very duplicitous and hypocritical. And the one thing that any person can't stand is dealing with a group or individual or anybody, doesn't matter the race, that you feel is hypocritical, that they want to take from you, but yet have a problem with you taking from them. Or they want you to give, but then they have a problem when you want to give back. Or they want to be able to disrespect you, but they have a problem if you want to disrespect them back. And what happens is when you're known to be that kind of group, people start to disrespect you or not like you or not want to be around you. And this is what certain blacks are saying. This is not for every Hispanic person or for every black person. I mean, Hispanics are great people. I mean, there's some very many of them. We can't say this or that. But what we will say is that there has been enough encounters between the black community and the Hispanic community where we believe that there is not a lot of trust there overall. Mm-hmm. And so what the black community feels is this is hypocritical. Like, you guys are hypocritical. Mm-hmm. You're not being serious, okay? On one end, you're waving your flags and talking about how much and how proud you are of your country and you don't want to go back, but we're trying to send you back there, but you're waving the flags because you don't want to go back. But you want to make America basically a little Mexico or a little Colombia. I've seen this situation happen in the UK where you have a lot of people in the UK that want to turn the UK and London, certain cities like that, into Muslim territories, even bring in Sharia law. But when you say deport these people back to Pakistan or Bahrain or any of the countries that they're from, now they don't want to go back. You know, they have an issue with, hey, let's go back to Jordan or Syria or Morocco or Libya. Any of those places, they don't want to go back and live there, but you want to come someplace else and turn that into where you just left. It doesn't make sense. And then at the same time, while you're there, you don't want to respect the people who are from that country. But now, if we were in your country, you would make us do everything to respect where you're at. And that is a problem that blacks have. So, guys, what do you think? It's your boy O'Shea Deuce Jackson back at it again.
This is O'Shea's channel. Check out O'Shea Deuce Jackson's channel. He has a really good informative content on his channel. O'Shea Duke Jackson. I like to give credit to the content creator for letting me do a reaction to their videos. But yeah, what do y'all think about this, man? Do y'all think that, my black people, do y'all think that Mexican people, Hispanic people, Latino people have a kinship with us, or do they just see us as a tool to be used and they really want to be with white folks? Let's talk about it in the comments, and hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to Charles on Israel. Appreciate you.